Hello and welcome to StratoCast, the UK BattleTech Southeast podcast. My name's Stuart Strategos Level 3, and today I thought we'd go back and take a look again at the BattleTech Tactical Companion app. Now, the last time I did a video on this was when it was first released, and it was only a kind of a beta test. And this time we've now got a more full release that's just been advertised on the BattleTech Facebook page and a few other places to say that now we have a full set of all of the clan invasion mechs, so all of the mechs that come from force packs, either inner sphere or clan force packs. So we're going to have a look through that and see how it's changed. Now, first of all, this is free. It's only for tablets. I'm using it on iOS, on an iPad. I've heard mixed reviews about its use on Android tablets. It doesn't work on phones. It's only optimized for tablets, and I'm not sure how it works on smaller tablets either, or larger tablets, for in fact, like the larger iPad Pros. But I've got this one on a standard size iPad Pro here, and there is a veteran upgrade. The veteran upgrade is £9.99 UK pounds, Great British pounds, and for that, as you can see, you get some future features. We'll talk about maybe the value of that later. It's a one-off payment, apparently lifetime payment, and apparently that price is going to go up because it's a limited time early adopter price. I'll let you think of that what you think. So let's go on and have a look actually of what this can actually do. So we start by actually adding in our lance, and this can only have up to a lance, and you can choose, you've got a filter there to type in, you can have multiple lances saved. So I'm just going to create a whole lance just to see how this works. Recon, let's make it a fire lance, there you go, fire lance, and we'll have a browse through what mechs that they have. So let's start off with something simple. I'm going to go for a Shadowhawk and see what we've got. So we've got the 2D and the 2H, and that's disappointing. Does it have a change? So we only have the 2D2, which is the Starlink variant, and 2H. No 2D, no 2K, certainly no 5M. Don't think there's any changes to the error that you can do with this, so I think that's a little bit disappointing. Let's just go ahead and put a Shadowhawk 2H here, and we can add in another mech as well. So let's add in let's go for another classic, a Wolverine, and see what variants we've got of the Wolverine. So we've got the few more variants of the Wolverine. We've got the 6M, 6R, 7D, 7K. So the 7K is a Starly variant, if I remember rightly. But again, not all of the variants. So if I go and look at maybe a couple of others, let's do the Marauder. Particularly see if the 5M's there. Now we don't have the 5M, we've got a 5D, but no 5M. Again, the 5M's a classic clan invasion mech. So there's still quite a lot of mechs missing from here. So let's add in the 5D, and we can add up to 4 just to show we can do that. Let's add in a Orion, and we don't have an Orion, so no Orion. Interesting. So Orion was one of the things here. Let's add a clan mech in just to be different. Let's see if I type in Madcat. We've got all of the variants of the Madcat here. A, B. Oh no, we don't have all of the variants. We have just the A and the B. Again, a little bit disappointing there that we only have a couple of variants. So let's try a Fire Moth. And it's not searching it under Fire Moth. That's because it wants me to say Dasher, doesn't it? No, doesn't like Dasher. So again, not not all of the mechs here that I would expect that are in this set. Battle Cobra. No. Let's go for an obvious one. Let's go for a Ryukin. Again, only A and B variants there. So let's go for a Ryukin Prime. I think, can we add a star? Just out of interest. No. So actually we can't do stars with this either, which is again a bit of a problem if you're playing clans and you want a star. You can't have a star because you can only put in a lance. That's a fairly major issue, I have to say. So we can change it to clan actually. Now we've got size 5. I see. There we go. Now we can have 5. Being pedantic, there's no Comstar one there. Any? So I don't think this is at all in any way linked into the master unit list in any way. So it just has what you have here. So that's our lances. We've got new lance, switch lance, delete lance, company builder, mech sheets. And let's go to, we're in the company builder now, let's go to the mech sheets. So here we've got our mech sheets here, and we've got our 5 mechs that we've put in. We've got nice little pictures. This is optimized for use in landscape. It doesn't really work in portrait. And we've also got a little optimized, I can go back to the main menu in the force builder here. It's got a little company logo that you can change. Can't say that's particularly a hot feature, but you could change it. And you can reset the force phase rules enforcement, so weapons phase, etc., movement phase, phase and complete warning. So it can do it by going through the phase. You've got up here initiative, movement phase, should think weapons phase, fire for end of weapons phase, I'm guessing melee, heat and finish. So let's start off by rolling some initiative. And does it roll? No. So I didn't think it would. There's this really odd thing that BattleTech and Catalyst Game Labs can't do, and they can't do anything that basically does rolls apparently, because that enters into the whole issue with Microprose or Microsoft owning the license to BattleTech computer games, and that means they can't do anything that does a calculation apparently, which I think is a real shame. It's a shame they can't negotiate a way out of that. Let's move on then to the movement phase. So we've rolled initiative. Can't do that electronically. We're going to go on to the next phase, so start next phase. And here we go. So we can now do our movement, and this is where we can enter our movement here. What we're going to enter our movement as, so we can enter run, and can we say how far we've run? We can just basically click on the movement type. So walking, running, are we in water? How many hectares of water are we in? Have we gone prone? That's just a yes no box to say whether or not the mech is prone. It does give us the +2 modifiers to say what our modifier is to hit if we're running. So we'll say that the Shadowhawk is running, the Marauder is going to walk, the Mad Cat here is walking and then gone prone, and the Ryukin is going to run, and the other Ryukin is going to walk. There we go. And is currently in water depth 1. Right, so we've done all of that. So that's all we can do. It doesn't ask us how many hexes they've moved. So we're going to go to start next phase. So begin aiming phase. Not all current moves have finished. Not all mechs have finished the current phase. Why is it coming up like that? So we've set the movement. On all of the mechs, end mech phase, start next phase, confirm. Okay, so we're into the next phase. That isn't entirely user-friendly, that idea. So now we can actually decide what weapons. So in BattleTech rules, although I often don't play these rules, you declare what weapons you're going to fire. So we can say that the Shadowhawk is going to fire the SRM2, the LRM5, the AC-20, and the medium laser. And we can set our target, and we can actually choose some options here. So we've got a nice little calculator. The target distance is, it's range 9, let's say. The target's moved, well, that's a very small drop down menu there, not particularly user friendly. Say the target's moved 5 to 6 hexes, hasn't jumped, and there are, again, not particularly very small, for fat finger syndrome here, to actually click on these. I much prefer kind of a graphic interface where you could just click on trees, for instance. And I hate to say this until this point, but I'll say it now, like Flex, where you could just basically click on the trees. So a bit small. So we've set some targeting there. I'm not going to do that for each of these mechs. I'm just going to do it for, I might do it for the Marauder as well. So, and I think you have to hit end mech phase for each mech. So we're going to say that one's done. Oh, I see. So you have to put end mech phase for each mech. Right, there we go. I can go on to this one now, and I can go, right, let's push up the heat. So we're going to fire both ERPPCs for 30 heat, and you can see the heat sinks at the bottom. It's got heat dissipation 32. And let's stick in a large pulse laser to make sure we overheat. And again, it's not got any heat tracking built in other than, so it's not going to do your rolls for you. So let's go to the point where we have a roll. Let's put in the medium pulse lasers and really cook this. So we've now got a void shutdown on a 4+. We're going to 17 heat. And we're at -3 modifier, -3 movement points, +3 modifier to fire. I'm going to end mech phase, and then the others I'm just going to end mech phase, just to do that. That just puts a nice tick there. It doesn't really do anything else other than give a tick. So yeah, that's what it is. Now I can do start no phase, into the fire phase. Okay, so now I can roll the dice, I'm guessing. So I've done the target aim phase. Now we roll all the dice and apply the damage. So let's apply some damage. So on our Shadowhawk, I can click fire. There we go. So we're going to fire the Shadowhawk. And of course, it doesn't do anything because it doesn't roll any dice. Because we're, again, that's frustrating, but because of the way in which the licensing works, we can't roll dice. But we can accept the fact that it's fired. We've also got a nice handy little reference table for the cluster hits. Again, a bit clunky. This is pretty, I would say, non-user friendly. I mean, you would have thought it would just look up the cluster table just for the SRM2 and LRM5, since that's the only two things it has. That's something that could be coded for, again, like Flex. So I'm ending the phase there. Again, you can say it's fired. There you go. And now it applies the heat permanently if you do click fire. So end mech phase. And I'll just go through, and then I can go back and apply some damage. So if I go back and apply damage, I can click into the damage here, and I can go, right. This is an interesting little interface. It's a interface where you can basically just turn around the actual dial here. So you just hold your finger down and, I'm assuming that's, there we go. So you hold your finger down and turn clockwise. Not entirely obvious, but there we go. And let's say it's taken 15 damage to the center torso. There we go. Add damage. And there we go. It's not a log, though, but you can undo the last damage. There we go. So you can undo the last damage. I don't know if that works twice. So I can say if I do 5 damage and then do 5 more, and then undo last damage, undo last damage. No, it'll only do the undo. You can only undo once. So again, not great. And you can't remove damage once it's there, I don't think. Let's just see. No. So once its damage is there, you can't retroactively remove it. You're kind of stuck with it. So that's, again, God, I'm sounding like a repeated record here. Something you can do in Flex. Oh, yeah, you can repair damage. There we go. You can repair damage. So I'm going to repair 5 points of damage. So there is a way to repair damage. Let's see if we can go through a location. Add 20 damage. So an AC 20 hit to the right arm. That's bound to end badly. And there we go. And now we've gone internal. So now we have to click on the internal. And then we've got the location. If I can click on the left arm, I get the hits here for the criticals. And again, it's not going to roll it for you, but you can go through and I can say, right, it's taken a shoulder critical. And one of the good things about this, though, is that will later show up in the weapons. So if we have a look on the right arm, next time I'll have a look on the right arm, and the right arm should have a +4 to hit because of that medium laser. So Mech warrior damage, let's do that. Let's go and take an AC 10 to the head, because that sounds like a good idea. AC 10 to the head, add damage. Internal does 1 damage. We can select critical, but it doesn't automatically add the damage. So again, we have to click on the damage there to add. Should also say, of course, you can type in pilot names here. You can enter the gunnery skill, just a simple text box. So I can just set that to 4-5. Don't know what that box is for. Oh, we've got some automatic pilots here that you can choose from. Interesting. Okay. They're from, I guess, the cards. So moving on to next phase. So we've ended next phase, ended all phases, start next phase. We can do a kick. And where are the kicks? That's an interesting question. So we're in the melee phase. There isn't a button for kick that I can see. No. So it looks like melee attacks you have to do manually. There's no way of automatically giving you the target number for melee attacks. Set target distance 1. 3 to 4, terrain modifier none. It's not giving me an option to do kicking that I can see. So again, that's not a feature that's been added yet to this version. So I'm going to end the phases for those. And start next phase, heat phase. Again, this is where we would roll our rolls, and of course we're going to have to roll it manually, and then we'll cool down appropriately. So I can see that this is got 17 heat. Heat effects currently, shot down, avoid, and 4+. And say, for instance, I didn't fail that roll, which quite often do on a 4+. I can click on the shutdown button, but does it do anything? No, just literally just is a button. So again, I can end phases for all of these mechs. And start next phase, finish phase. Sometimes there are scenario effects there, or the end phase as they call it. No way you call it a finish phase, called the end phase in the book. And I can, again, end. I don't have to end, I can just do that and confirm. And there we go. So what I can see, though, interestingly, in the next phase, it shows the marauder is ticked because it's shut down, so it's already activated. And what I can also see is the medium laser is at a +4. Interestingly, that's a bug, isn't it? So interestingly, everything's showing as a +4. Don't know why. Maybe because I haven't gone through it yet. Because only the medium laser should be showing at a +4. Let's have a go. So I'm going to go to the next phase because initiative's done. I'm going to set movement to be walking. And then I'm going to end the phase. Just doesn't matter about the rest of the mechs. Confirm. Interesting. So it's giving me a +5 to hit modifier for no reason whatsoever. If I go to set target, let's say the target is 5 hexes away and has moved 5 to 6 hexes. That's a +2 modifier and has jumped. So really that should just be for the SRM2 should be a +2 for range, +2 for target moved, and +1 for jump, plus should be a +5, and it's giving me another +5 on top of that. +1 for walking. So it's anomalously adding a +4 modifier to everything because of the shoulder critical. And just to see if I can prove that's true, let's just repair the shoulder critical. Will it let me? If I do that and repair the shoulder critical, still showing there as +5. So no idea why that's doing that. My BattleTech maths is good enough to tell me that something's wrong with that. And it hasn't heated up at all. Yeah, and the green layer is the heat dissipation. So interesting. If anyone wants to comment why they think that's the case, or they think it's an obvious fault, then they can tell me. We do see as well the ammunition counters do go down, so that is one thing. If I, for instance, go to the next phase and go to the fire phase, and then go to the next phase, which is the actually we're in the fire phase now, so let's take some damage to an ammo bin. So for instance, let's take damage to the left torso. So say for instance I take a 20-point hit to the left torso. Hang on. 20-point hit to the left torso. There we go. And not sure what happened there. Let's repair 20 of that. I can just go to undo last damage, can't I? There we go, undo last damage. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling this is a little bit buggy. So I'm going to repair, let's repair all the damage there and do that again. So if I go to damage 20 to the left torso and go to the internal, it's gone internal. I can tap the ammo and it's instantly applying the damage. So that's one good thing. It is applying. It's also giving the damage for the ammunition explosion to the pilot, which is good. So weirdly, it doesn't give you damage for taking a head hit, but it does do the damage for the ammunition explosion. Not sure I understand the logic behind that. It does one thing and not the other. And again, it was still showing this weird +5 modifier to everything, including stuff on the left torso, right torso, and head. And it should just be the right arm. So overall, there are some bugs in it. I mean, the overall usability, some of it's useful, some of it isn't. I don't like these tiny menus that are quite, fiddly to click on. The overall layout is easy to interpret visually, but it's limited in what it can do. Obviously, yes, it can replace pencil and paper, It does allow you to do any modifier you want, so you aren't limited maybe in the same way as the built-in limitation to Flex are, where you're limited just to the standard rule set. It's a bit more flexible than that, I guess. But again, if we go back to the big problem, it's only got a certain number of mechs. And I don't know how app development works, but I do know that MegaMech has an entire database of all of the mech stats. You would think it'd be a simple job to import that data in and to create this system, but obviously that's not the case. Again, can I give this thumbs up? No, I'd go back to using Flex every time. Then I don't think this is quite there as an app. Flex has the advantage that you can use it on web browsers, on any phone or tablet, although to be quite honest, I find it too fiddly on phones. It's also got the advantages of being able to do certain roles if you want to, and you can do the player versus player. But I thought I'd give this a fair go again, and although they've made a couple of improvements, they've increased the number of mechs, they've increased a couple of the options, it's still not up there yet. And I think it's still trailing far behind. And of course, it goes without saying as well that we're nowhere near having something that's going to do battle armor or vehicles or infantry. So, I hate to be down on this, but I want to be realistic, because giving fair chance to all products on the marketplace, I would still recommend Flex over this. And they've got a long way to go before they can really say that this is a flagship product for Catalyst Game Labs that is all singing, all dancing great. It's still very much beta, and people are going to get frustrated when they basically pick this up, go to play mechs that are in a clan invasion, like the Orion, for instance, that they've bought and got the force packs for, and they're not in the database. So that's a little bit disappointing. But hopefully, let's see if they can actually put some more time in and actually get the system more developed, and then that will be great. Until next time, see you then.